It's late. The world is quiet. You're finally in bed, maybe scrolling your phone, maybe staring at the ceiling. And just as you're about to drift off to sleep, your brain decides it's the perfect time to remind you of something horrifyingly embarrassing. Something you did years ago. A moment you haven't thought about in ages. Suddenly you're wide awake, replaying that awkward conversation, that slip of the tongue, that time in 8th grade when you said or did something cringy. It hits out of nowhere, and it hits hard. So why does this happen? Why do embarrassing memories show up when we're trying to relax, to sleep, to escape? First off, let's talk about how memory actually works. Your brain doesn't store memories like files in a cabinet. It's more like a constantly shifting web. Memories are reconstructed each time you recall them. That means the ones you revisit most often, especially emotional ones, become stronger, more accessible, more vivid. And the brain is particularly good at holding on to negative experiences. That's not just random, it's evolutionary. Embarrassing moments usually involve social blunders, saying the wrong thing, misreading the room, being laughed at, and feeling exposed. And for most of human history, being socially accepted was a matter of survival. If your tribe didn't like you, that could mean danger. So we evolved this deeply ingrained mechanism to avoid social rejection. That's why embarrassing memories feel so powerful. Your brain treats them like lessons it needs to remember forever. But still, why 2 a.m.? Why do these moments return then when we're trying to sleep? It turns out the brain operates very differently at night. As your body starts winding down, your brain actually ramps up in some ways. You shift into a mode called the default mode network. This is the mental state your brain enters when you're not focused on anything specific, when you're daydreaming, introspecting, or preparing for sleep. It's also when your mind starts processing the events of the day, and sometimes of your life. Here's the kicker: the default mode network doesn't follow your instructions. It brings up thoughts that are emotionally charged, unresolved, or just random. And unfortunately, unresolved embarrassment tends to top that list. At night, there are fewer distractions. No emails, no conversations, no errands. It's just you and your thoughts. Which means your brain finally has the mental bandwidth to sort through emotional clutter it's been pushing aside all day. That's when the ghosts of awkward moments past come creeping in. Some psychologists even believe that this is your brain's way of error checking. It's like your mind is reviewing past events to figure out what went wrong, what you could have done differently, and how to avoid making the same mistake again. It's not trying to torture you, it's trying to help you improve. But of course it doesn't feel helpful. It feels like self-sabotage. You're lying in bed, vulnerable, tired, and suddenly reliving something you can't change. That's where rumination comes in. Rumination is when you obsessively think about the same event over and over, usually something negative. It's common in people with anxiety, but almost everyone experiences it to some degree. The problem is, the more you ruminate, the more your brain strengthens the neural pathways associated with that memory. So it becomes easier to recall and harder to forget. There's also the issue of identity. Embarrassing moments often challenge how we see ourselves. Maybe you think of yourself as confident, smart, composed, and then your brain reminds you of a time when you weren't. That internal conflict creates emotional dissonance, which your mind naturally wants to resolve. But because the event is in the past, you can't fix it. So instead, your brain keeps poking at it, hoping to find a solution that never comes. Now, let's not forget that memory is unreliable. When you remember something embarrassing, you're not seeing it exactly as it happened. You're reconstructing it based on current emotions, old biases, and fragments of sensory information. You might be blowing it way out of proportion. Chances are the people involved don't even remember it, or didn't care nearly as much as you did. And yet, it feels real. It feels recent. That's because the emotional part of your brain, the amygdala, lights up when you recall intense memories. It doesn't care that the event happened 5 years ago. If it felt bad then, it feels bad now. So, how do you stop this cycle? One strategy is mindfulness. When the memory pops up, instead of trying to fight it or distract yourself, acknowledge it. Label it. "Ah, that's an old memory. That's my brain doing its late night highlight reel again." You don't have to wrestle with it, just notice it and let it pass. Another tool is self-compassion. Try talking to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. If your best friend told you about something embarrassing they did in 2014, would you mock them forever? No, you'd probably say, "It's fine, nobody's thinking about that." So why are you so harsh to yourself? You can also use cognitive reframing. Instead of viewing the memory as proof that you're awkward or broken, view it as proof that you're human. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has weird moments. They're part of growing, learning, and connecting. You might even try journaling. Write the memory down, describe how it felt, and then write a kinder version of it. Give yourself permission to move on. And finally, if these thoughts are keeping you up night after night or triggering anxiety and self-doubt during the day, it might be worth talking to a therapist. Sometimes our minds latch onto embarrassment as a stand-in for deeper issues, like low self-worth or unresolved trauma. The truth is, no one escapes embarrassment. Everyone has moments they wish they could erase, but part of being emotionally healthy is learning how to live with those memories without letting them control you, to laugh at them, learn from them, and sometimes just let them go. So, next time your brain decides to hit you with a cringe attack at 2 a.m., take a breath. Smile if you can. Say, "Thanks, brain, I've learned my lesson." Then roll over, pull the blanket up, and remind yourself you're doing just fine. If you want more psychology content like this, stuff that dives into the mind's weirdest moments and why we do what we do, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram for more behind-the-scenes thoughts, short-form breakdowns, and mental health insights.